Hello, everyone. I just wanted to first thank you all for being here to join us at this webinar. My name is Josh Thrasher. I work with DWD Technology Group. We are a Sage 100 partner located in Indiana. We provide Sage 100 support services to companies throughout the Midwest, and we're always trying to find ways for our users to become more efficient and get the most out of their software. Today, we're joined by Bill from SWK Technologies, and he will be showing how EDI can be automated using their integrated solution called MAPADOC. And with that, Bill, it's all yours.
Well, thanks a lot, Josh. And again, thanks everyone for taking the time here. I know everyone has busy schedules and it's summer, right? So, but like Josh said, my name is Bill Gosted. I come from an organization called MAPADOC. And I've been with the organization for close to 8 years, and really in a variety of capacities, from consulting to pre-sales support to working with your partners like DSD or DWD in regards to solving for EDI needs, and we'll kind of get into what that looks like. So, in these types of presentations, really what I like to focus in on is not necessarily, hey, listen, this is the EDI product, but what we're seeing and what our customers are being asked to do from a fulfillment perspective, and what EDI integration means to them, and the model that we provide, and where it typically adds value to our clients. So at the end of the day, we really like to kind of just focus in on that at a high level, because what we do and what our customers are being asked to do from an EDI standpoint is typically a requirement. And it's all about who are you selling to. So really from a goals perspective or agenda perspective today, kind of we'll just go through at a high level. If we haven't spoken before, if you're unaware of who we are, just kind of give you a high level of that, what we solve for, kind of what customers or retailers or .com players are asking our customers or you to do. Who are we solving for? So if you're unsure of what EDI is, we can kind of talk about, well, if I'm trading or doing business with these players, this is typically where it's a fit, why we are a fit. So EDI can be done in a variety of different ways, and our approach is a little bit different versus others, and kind of talk about where that stands, and then how to engage us, and then Q&A. The presentation shouldn't take any more than 25, 30 minutes. And so we'll have more than enough time to cover any sort of questions that you have. I know through GoToMeeting, you can raise your hand. But we'll also, at the end, if you guys have any specific questions, you guys can put those into the question box through the GoToMeeting application. So who we are, MAPADOC EDI. So we are, at the end of the day, we are a full service EDI solution managing all components. And we'll get into what all components mean, but if you're required to do EDI and you're looking at doing it in an integrated fashion, there are a few components you need to think about and how you want to approach and solve for those. As a team, we have dedicated teams across North America. So specifically on the MAPADOC team supporting our EDI customers, we have over 30 people for specifically Sage instances, and that ranges around sales support, whether you're evaluating or we have current clients adding to their existing solution, delivery. So really our approach from a delivery standpoint is EDI is fairly simple, but when you start thinking about how you're using, in this case, Sage, that's where it becomes more complex. So our consultants are either former Sage users or former customers. So they understand EDI and they understand Sage. Support and customer management, EDI is not, hey, listen, we install it and we're done. It's ongoing, whether you're adding, customers as you're growing as an organization, or, your current clients are asking you to set up EDI in order to do business with them. Or, you have a customer that you're set up for EDI for and they change the requirements. So there's a lot of different factors that our clients have to think about, or we manage for them from a support standpoint. And then the last two is, I think, where we've really invested heavily around development and product management, because we want to make sure that, hey, listen, it's not just here's an EDI solution for today. We want to make sure we're listening to what you're being asked to do it from a customer standpoint by your customers or by retailers at the end of the day, to really get an idea of where it's going, where the requirements are going, and make sure we have a solution that meets those needs, not just for today, but for the future. Global presence, with some of the solutions in the Sage ecosystem that we partner with. We work with a lot of global companies. We have direct access to the largest supply chain network in North America. So really what that means is if you've been asked to do EDI, or you're unsure if a customer of yours does EDI, but it may make sense to do it, if anyone has EDI requirements, we've worked with that before at the end of the day. And if we don't, it's not a huge deal. We work directly with those buying organizations to build out to their requirements as well. Really where we kind of pride ourselves in and differentiate is our ERP and EDI experience. So we know Sage and we know EDI. And because of that, we are the Sage endorsed solution for Sage 100, Sage 500, and enterprise management. And we're also Acumatica certified. So what are we solving for? You know, at the end of the day, what we provide is EDI system automation for Sage ERP. And now that all comes back to fulfillment. So fulfilling orders for your customers. At the end of the day, that's where we come in, and it's all based upon who you're selling to. So fulfillment, I mean, we use this term, I mean, just so we're all speaking common language, you know, fulfillment is really, at the end of the day, the end-to-end process of filling an order, you know, or fulfilling an order to a consumer that includes the order itself, you know, shipments, invoices, payments, returns. There's a lot of different business transactions outside just the order that our customers have to manage. Whether EDI is in play or not, they have to think about as you're thinking about a life cycle of an order, to make sure that, hey, listen, we're getting the product out the door, but we're also meeting our customers' requirements at the same time. And those are ever changing. And I think Amazon is a really good example of that. You know, Amazon is a really good example of the ongoing evolution of retail, both brick and mortar and online. And so what does this mean for our customers? Because when you think about the typical, even EDI or not, when you're thinking about typical, you know, fulfillment to a retailer, you're thinking about brick and mortar, shipping it to a DC or shipping it to a store, for us as consumers, myself, Bill, buying it, right? Now that's completely changed, and Amazon is leading that charge, whether we're ordering, and I do this every single day, and well, hopefully not, but very close to it, where I purchase product online and typically through Amazon. And, you know, in the background, like for me as a consumer, it's very simple, but in the background, our customers or suppliers are being asked to do a lot more and in a lot shorter time period. So, you know, shipping, whether that's shipping directly to consumer, shipping to Amazon's warehouse, shipping to, you know, to a warehouse that then gets delivered to a store, things like that, that our, you know, our customer suppliers have had to evolve over the past few years. And for us to be able to, you know, one, allow our clients to grow into that and scale into that, but help our clients plan for that is really important, because that's going to change even further. I mean, Amazon's even changing that now again. I mean, they're looking at, from what I, you know, speaking to clients, they've actually gone as far as renting out specific warehouse space in our clients' warehouses specifically for Amazon product to be resold. So these are changing the plans that our clients have to think about, both from a technology standpoint and a resource standpoint. And, you know, again, Amazon's leading the charge, but Walmart, Sam's, Home Depot, Lowe's, they're all kind of playing that same game, where, you know, requirements are becoming more stringent, and you need to turn around not just business documents, but just visibility and transparency in a much quicker time frame. So when you're thinking about a typical supplier environment, when we think about what our supplier has to, I mean, I try to put myself in our customer shoes day in and day out, and at the end of the day, who are they selling to, and in which channels? What is that brick and mortar with e-commerce through, if you're familiar with Commerce Hub, or pure e-commerce like Amazon? Are our customers outsourcing their warehouse operations and working with 3PL? Do they ship UPS, FedEx, small parcel or small package, LTL? These are all things our customers have to think about. And in a lot of cases, in most cases, EDI touches these in some manner or form, especially if you're selling to a customer that either requires EDI to do business or is someone that gives EDI as an option to help automate. Now, when you're thinking about EDI, so again, at the end of the day, EDI is a way to transact business documents with a customer. And in most cases, it's a requirement to do business. So I'll use Home Depot or Lowe's as a good example. If you're trading with them or if they're a customer, EDI is a requirement in some fashion, whether that is going out to their portal to pull down orders and you tell them how you shipped it and invoiced it, they send it to a third-party portal, or you want it integrated within your Sage system. That's what MAPADOC has. That's what we solve for. If customers are getting to a point where, hey, listen, we're dealing with a customer and their volume or their revenue or the time spend is way too much for us to do it manually, that's where MAPADOC comes into play to help, streamline those processes and efficiencies for our clients. And so when our clients have to think about, hey, listen, I want to look at an integrated environment, what are the components? And in most cases, our clients are not EDI experts, nor do they want to be. EDI is very niche. We have some clients that have EDI coordinators in-house, but in most cases, it's something that it's not a core to their business, but they're required to do. So at the end of the day, it's really kind of four components: the connectivity, so how the data is sent back and forth; the mapping and translation, so mapping it from Home Depot's. I keep using Home Depot because they're a good example. Home Depot's requirements to, how the data needs to be imported in the system, and then the integration layer within the Sage system. So MAPADOC resides directly in the Sage platform as just any other module, and we take and map and create, let's just say, EDI orders or EDI purchase orders, and map those as sales orders in the system, and vice versa with shipments, invoices, and a range of other business documents that help save our customers a bunch of time when they're looking at integrating it through EDI. So those are the components that, at least, regardless if you're using Sage, regardless of what ERP you're using, who you're trading with, if you're looking at EDI and integrated environment, those are the things that have to be covered, whether you think about them or not. And in our model, our clients don't have to think about it because we handle all of it. So again, we're completely full service, where we take on everything for our clients in regards to communicating with your customers' EDI departments, or like, again, Home Depot's EDI requirements or Amazon, doing all the mapping and translation, the connectivity, and then MAPADOC resides directly in the Sage platform to streamline those business transactions or business documents, so your users do not need to leave the Sage platform to process EDI. And we're connecting to marketplaces, again, 3PLs, retailers, and a range of different order management models based upon dropship, ship to DC, cross-dock, DSD or direct store delivery, things of that nature. And again, the reason why we take this on from a full service perspective is, again, most of our clients do not want to be, nor are EDI experts. So that's where we come into play to help them manage that. So who are we solving for? As I target markets for EDI, but as you're looking at it for MAPADOC, and you're thinking, is MAPADOC a fit for me? Really, at the end of the day, like, the way I kind of approach it is, again, who are you selling to? Are you selling to big box stores such as, Sam's, Home Depot, Lowe's, or retailers, grocers? Grocery has really changed in the EDI space over the years. .com players, that's huge as well. If you're transacting through any sort of web portals, like Walmart has a portal called Retail Link, if you're trading with them, that's just a cheap, easy way to transact with Walmart, but you can replace that through EDI if it becomes too time consuming. Same as with Commerce Hub. If you're trading with any sort of retailers that you're shipping.com, you have to deal with Commerce Hub or are familiar with them. They have done a really good job of placing themselves in between you and the retailer or the customer. So you have to go through them. You can help automate that too. If you're, again, outsourcing any sort of your warehousing component to a third-party logistic company, the way that they automate orders and shipments with their customers or suppliers is through EDI. That is kind of the main. If 3PLs aren't trading EDI, they're probably not as competitive as they need to be in their market. Transacting business with large supplier communities. So, when you think of EDI, you kind of think of it in a historical sense of trading with a retailer, and that's the cost, it's a requirement to do business. And now what we've seen over the past couple of years is clients are kind of changing that, saying, hey, listen, I have this solution that I'm automating my transactions with my customers, can I look at automating it with my supplier community, right? So you as a Sage customer or Sage customers that we have, hey, listen, I have large suppliers that I would like to automate those transactions, like outbound orders and coming back shipments or invoices. You're in a lot of cases in the driver's seat now. So clients are flipping that around instead of just looking at it from a customer perspective. How do I automate my supplier vendor perspective as well? So why integrated EDI? Again, EDI can be done in a variety of different capacities. One, hey, listen, I just need to be compliant. At the end of the day, I have a customer or a net new customer that is telling me to do EDI or asking me to do EDI. You can do it manually. There are, cheap portals out there that, hey, listen, it's something that gets you up compliant pretty quickly. Something what we have to offer as well. There's a lot of different options out there through our solution. But when you're looking at integration, there's kind of three things that come down to it. I mean, number one, again, too, is a requirement to do business. In order to do business with our trading partners, EDI is a requirement. It's a cost of doing business. But where, integration comes into play is, hey, listen, I'm spending way too much time manually entering orders, invoices, shipments, you name it. So it's a huge inefficient use of employees, and then decreased risk. I mean, if you're familiar, if you trade with Amazon, I mean, even Home Depot for that matter, you're exposed with, especially on the manual side, with chargebacks, data integrity, and then again, decreased risk around the large supplier communities. Because if you're looking at not just the amount of time you're having to spend, but we're all human, it happens, whether that's, fat fingering or not getting something back in time or not getting something back in the way your customers require it, you're exposed. And that what we've seen is hits majorly on revenue and the bottom line. So integrated EDI helps, one, streamline that manual entry, but also it takes away that human component from a fat fingering perspective, for lack of a better term, and then makes sure and requires you to meet your customers' requirements to decrease those chargebacks and increase data integrity. So, just kind of as a high level, when you're looking at upstream versus downstream, I kind of look at it two different ways. Like there's three different areas, just kind of as a quick overview, from EDI perspective: trading with customers, trading with your suppliers, and then trading with, if you are, your outsourced 3PL or your outsourced warehousing operation. And again, customer trading partner fulfillment, it's all based upon who your customers. This has historically been the driving force of EDI. And it's all about managing your system to your customers' requirements at the end of the day. 3PL transactions, again, this is if you're trading with a 3PL, at the end of the day, in most cases, they use EDI to help automate. And this aligns the EDI to your ERP and manages the order processing and inventory control. Suppliers, again, that's more around if you're looking at ways to help automate your supplier community, regardless of how sophisticated your supplier community is or isn't. There's a lot of enablement and onboarding campaigns that we've taken on and really puts you in the driver's seat. And at the end of the day, it's really just managing the business transactions or business process, whether that's order processing, whether that's shipping, whether that's inventory, and a lot more. So features and benefits, I think it's just really, important just to talk about these a little bit. At the end of the day, our solution is very easy to use because we're embedded in the Sage platform. We're just like any other module. So like in Sage 100, we sit directly under sales order. Because of that, there's a couple things. We're able to provide both multi-point validations across reference tables in our system to your customers' requirements, but also the data in Sage. Because it's one thing to automate. If you don't have safety nets in there and you're importing in an automated fashion invalid data, it defeats the purpose of integration. So we want to make sure that we're validating what your customers are sending and compare it to data points in Sage and vice versa. And the way we're able to is very exception-based, and because of exception-based, we provide powerful reporting for our customers to have complete visibility and have it, again, be very exception-based. You're not having to touch every single order, every single invoice, but only the ones that come up as, hey, listen, it may be missing required information, or provide some additional feedback based upon the customer's requirements. So in Sage 100, there are over 20 business documents that we have the ability of integrating. whether those are customer exchanges, vendor exchanges, shipping documents of the ASN module, or warehouse documents. And where we really come into play, and this has just been, for us in our 25 years of experience, we really pride ourselves in kind of making ourselves being very flexible and customizable to our customers based upon how they're using Sage, because that's where you're really going to see the efficiencies as you look at integrated EDI, and that comes back to ROI. So it's not, hey, listen, do it yourself or get by. It's all about this solution is going to provide you value, and you're going to see the return on it, whether that's within, reduced manual entry with or inefficient use of employees, decreased chargebacks, decreased risk, or exposure to net new customers. EDI, as if you're looking at going out and, obtaining new customers, a lot of cases they're asking you to do EDI, or asking you or telling you to. It's one or the other. So I know that I kind of went through that a little. I just like to a little quickly, I like to keep it very high level of kind of what we do, what we have to offer, and who we serve. One thing I, can touch on real quickly is kind of when you're thinking about integrated EDI, from a cost perspective, there's a couple different things you just need to think about, right? Regardless of what solution you're using, Sage or not, there is with EDI, and this is just the nature of it, there's really two components. There is an upfront cost, and that's based upon how many customers you either want to integrate or add to an EDI environment. And then there's an ongoing cost based upon the number of either transactions or your orders you're trading on a monthly or annual perspective. So when you're thinking about that, about EDI, and thinking about what solution is the best for me, and this is kind of where we walk through kind of a very consultative approach with our clients of what solution aligns with not only what makes best sense for their business, but who they're trading with, the volume, things of that nature. That's where we really make sure, hey, listen, this is what we're, offering, and this is what makes best sense now, but also saying, hey, listen, as you grow, whether that's with a current client or with with net new clients, moving from a manual EDI solution to an integrated EDI solution is fairly simple, and you can do it at any point. It's not all or nothing. Our clients grow into solutions, and that's kind of the approach that we take with our clients overall. So, as promised, probably about 25 minutes here. So again, I really appreciate the time, and you guys, attending here today to kind of learn about not one, what we do, but two, just EDI in general, of what our clients have to think about, or is at the end of the day, is EDI something I have to think about with my customers or within my supply chain? So, Josh, I don't know if there's any specific questions out there at all, but if not, we can certainly give your customers back some time in their day. But I did put up my contact info up on the screen, and I can send over this PowerPoint over to Josh so you guys can get distributed out to you guys so you have it as a reference.
All right. I didn't have any questions sent in specifically, but this is the opportunity for anybody in attendance if you have a question to go ahead and ask that. So does anybody have any specific questions like that?
I want to know what model.
I'm sorry, Prakash, I can hear you. What was that question, though?
I'm back. Obviously. The question was the only model that we can purchase is under a subscription plan?
So MAPADOC, so we're the Sage certified EDI solution. So the software component goes through Sage and DWD. We have subscription and perpetual for the software models available. And so kind of the way we bundle the software packages is small, medium, and large, because our some of our clients need everything under the sun, others don't. So it's all depending on what your requirements are. We can kind of walk through, hey, listen, this is, based upon the documents that make best sense to integrate, we recommend the medium package or the small, depending on what you're being asked to do and what makes best sense to integrate. So we do offer both.
So is it possible to send, this is Prakash again, is it possible to send us a sample of what the menus look like with EDI incorporated in our Sage 100?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, typically what I do, Prakash, it sounds like you have some EDI experience in the back previously or in a current life, is that right?
I developed some software for medical billing systems where a similar approach is used to bill Medicare or Blue Cross Blue Shield and so on. So.
Got it. Yeah. So I mean, if it makes sense, what we can do is we can set up a specific, demo environment to you and go pretty deep, or as deep as you need to go, or we need to go. We can certainly set something up to say, listen, this is what it looks like within Sage 100. These are kind of what the modules look like, the day-to-day processing, users experience, things like that. That's not a problem at all.
So depending on our customers and my boss, we could be deploying this rather quickly. So.
Yeah, I mean, so because what and a lot of times, like on a daily basis now, when I'm speaking to clients, a lot of them are unsure. Well, I don't know if my customers trade EDI. And so what we typically do, just so you don't have to go out and ask your customers, is if you're comfortable with it, again, most customers are, but hey, listen, if you have a list of customers saying, hey, listen, we need to find a way to help automate this, we can cross-reference it to our experience, because we have that way you're not having to do that digging on your own. We can say yay or nay, we've worked with them before and they do EDI, because if they do EDI, we worked with them before at the end of the day. If they don't, that doesn't mean they can't, or we won't work with them. It's just having that further dialogue. And then from a typical timeline perspective, just to kind of give you an idea, like that first customer getting up and running takes anywhere probably around 4 weeks, because there's a testing process your customers have that we have to abide by. There's a dependency on communication. Some customers are quicker at responding than others, or trading partners is what I call them. And then any customer after that, it's about 2 to 3, because at that point, the solution's installed, your team is trained on the day-to-day, then it's just going through a testing iteration for each customer beyond that. Does that help answer your question, Prakash?
For now, yes. I'll have more later.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what I can do is I can get over my direct contact information over to the DWD team, and they can get that over. And if we want to set something up, we certainly can, to have further dialogue of who your customers are, what a solution looks like, some recommendations, things like that. We certainly can.
I do have one more question. So each customer provides their own translation table definition?
So that's a really good question. EDI, so EDI was born in the 80s. It's been around for a really long time. There are standards, right? There are standards that people are supposed to abide by, but everyone has their own standard. Like Home Depot standard is different than Walmart's, or McKesson standards are different than Cardinal, like in the medical industry, and then different than Cardinal Health. Now they're fairly similar, but everyone has their different requirements that we abide by on behalf of our clients, whether that's how they're trading, how they're sending and receiving the data, what data they want you to receive and send, what business documents they want you to send and receive, things like that we know what they are, but everyone has a little bit different. And some people play a little bit outside the rules, but those we just manage by exception.
But we don't have to worry about getting these definitions. You already have them.
If your customer is traded EDI, if your customer does EDI, yes, we know that, because our model is, it's not, hey, listen, we're just building this out one time and that's it. That's fairly risky for everybody. So our model is we're doing this as from a scalability perspective. So it's, working with suppliers that are like Cardinal Health and McKesson, like there's thousands of suppliers that trade with them. And so we're managing those requirements on behalf of all of them. So we want to make sure, because we make sure that if Cardinal or McKesson makes a change, or we have to understand their EDI requirements very well. So yes, I mean, long story short, yes, we manage those requirements. We know the requirements. We manage the communications with their EDI teams.
Can I ask a last question?
Yeah, Totally.
Who benefits the most by deploying EDI? The customer, we, the supplier, or the people who provide the transaction gateways?
Well, the goal is really, honestly, because at the end of the day, your customers are deploying it because it benefits them, right? That's number one. That's why they're deploying. They're deploying it because they want to automate their transactions with their supplier community. And when you're deploying an integrated, if you're looking at EDI saying, hey, listen, it all comes down to the ROI. So where integrated EDI number 2 comes into play is when your volume kind of gets to a point where you can't manage it manually. So when you're looking at integration, that's when it benefits the supplier, right? Because again, EDI can be done manually at the end of the day. You can go to a portal and the customer see you as EDI compliant, but when it starts to benefit you as a user or a supplier is once that volume hits a certain threshold or revenue or time spend, that's where that return comes back to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks for those questions. Is there anyone else that has any questions? All right. I'm going to take that as a no. Just for everyone's information, this webinar has been recorded. We will send a link out for the recording on all this. If you want specific contact information, you're more than welcome to send an email to what's on your screen now or to the organizer of the webinar, and we can get any information you might need forwarded over to you. And if you're all done with your presentation, I guess we will call this complete.
Thanks, Chris.
Great. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Have
you.
a good rest of your day.
All right, Bill, and thanks everybody for attending.
Yep. Take care, guys.
So did you get a good feel for it? I got a better